Hey guys, Casey Judge, Base Barbellion. In this week's breakdown, I'm going to be taking a look at one of our own hitters. His name is Spencer Smith. He's a high school prospect, 6'1", 205-pound catcher from Northern Durham High School in Durham, North Carolina. The clip in particular is from this year's International Power Showcase. It's basically a home run derby for high school prospects. It's invite only, showcasing the nation's best power hitting high school prospects. Spencer was invited to represent North Carolina, and he did a really good job in this event. He crushed a few balls. I know he made it pretty deep into the event. In this swing in particular that we're going to look at is a ball that produced a 487-foot shot. I mean, it actually bounced out of the stadium. It's absolutely crushed, and he is only a senior in high school. So we're going to take a look at the movements that produced this swing. So we'll go into this. And one thing I know, we've been getting requests just to play the videos at full speed in the beginning, so I'm going to give you guys a chance to look at this video a couple times in full speed through its entirety. So we'll play it. We'll play it again. And this ball is just, what a beautiful swing, what a violent turn. This ball is absolutely crushed. Cool. And now we'll get into how he's able to do this. I've worked with Spencer personally a few times. Chad has worked with him the most. JK has also worked with him, and Gabe too. So we've all had our hands on Spencer's swing and his movements for quite a while. One thing I really like that Spencer does, he's a leg kicker, so he lifts his leg, and he's actually toned down a little bit, even since my time here and working with him. He's a big kid. He's 6'1", 205. He's bigger than your average high school kid. He's strong, so he doesn't need to utilize a giant leg kick. So he's got a leg kick, but it used to be a lot bigger. We're going to take it into heel plant, and we're going to draw some lines. So really good position he lands in right here. So he lengthens out his back leg beautifully. We see this. He gets his stomach open. Back leg, back hip is open. Front foot is open. I mean, just a really good spot to turn out of. It's very important that a hitter utilizes momentum and gets some forwardness from their center of mass going towards the pitcher. The head doesn't have to move a ton. It's going to move a little bit, but in space, it's not going to move 4 feet. And once his front heel hits, his head's not going to move at all. So we're going to erase those. I mean, if I put a circle around his head at true foot strike, I mean, he just doesn't move. Such a beautiful swing. Very good upper body. I want to talk about his lower body a little bit more first before we move into his upper body. So Spencer does a really good job. Like I said, lengthen out his back leg, get into that bent front leg, and really turning. You see that back foot popping up off the ground, gaining some ground forward, catches himself really nice, which allows him to finish his turn and show his NC, his numbers to home plate, which is really good. It signifies that he used everything. He used his whole turn and in completion, decelerated great, and he catches himself with a really high back heel. Now we're going to get into his upper body. So as Spencer goes into his turn, I want you to notice how his front arm starts to work up a little bit. So this is like internal rotation in his front arm, and this is really specific. I'm looking at this little piece on his front shoulder. So if you see that thing just raised just a little bit, I think we often get lost in the intricacies of the front arm and what it actually does. So what it's doing there and why it's moving up is because it's internally rotating as he's going into turn. So think of a thrower. A thrower gets into external rotation when they throw. Well, a hitter's front side arm actually goes into external rotation so it can delay the barrel just a little bit. I want you to see this nice good arc right here. It's starting to blur, so he's accelerating the barrel from about as deep as possible. I mean, his stomach is almost completely towards the pitcher. You'd be able to see his back knee and the front of his front knee very visibly from the mound, and he's just got some very, very good stretch and separation all across his torso. Does a very good job of keeping his knob behind his back knee and just violently turns the bat from about as deep as possible. You see it skip a few frames there. We'll take it to contact. Back foot's off the ground. Really solid upper body mechanics. So he's got this bent back arm and bent front arm, really signaling that he does something good called turning the box. So he's using, arms aren't activated too much in his swing at all, and he's really using his turn, his big muscles to power his swing, and that's why I'm really not surprised that he hits the ball 487 feet. And I know I've seen personally live in lessons, he's upwards of 107 mile an hour off a front toss, which is pretty insane. Like I said, given the fact that he's only a senior in high school and he just finished his high school career and he just played his last game in high school. So, and we'll take it through the finish. Very good job of upwardly extending through the ball. I want you to take a look at his back. I'm looking at his back elbow. So this thing is working up through the ball. One thing that we work with Spencer a lot on is making his shoulders work more up and down like a smiley face. So preferably you would want, let's see what we're going to go with here. You'd want the shoulders to work more up and down like a smiley face, almost like how a half pipe looks in skateboarding. His are just a little flat, and that's something we worked with Spencer on a lot, and he's gotten better at it, and he's only going to improve. And obviously you could tell it didn't really affect him this much because he still is able to produce a 487-foot home run, given the fact that his shoulders don't rotate as good as they could, and he knows that, and that's something that he comes in and works on all the time, and he's gotten significantly better at, and it allows him to elevate the ball a little bit more. Spencer, just from working with him in person, will tell you that when he starts to get into trouble, he starts to rotate very flat, like a merry-go-round. I know I heard A-Rod say something on MLB Network this week about, you want the shoulders to work with like a Ferris wheel, and that's something we've been saying for a long time, and it's very cool to see a high-level player who had a ton of success at the highest level say something as intelligent as that, because the upper body working like a Ferris wheel, more circular in the swing, is what higher level hitters do. So just a little flat right here, but really good finish, really good turn. It was so cool to see one of our hitters who has been with us for a long time do as well as he did at this event. I'm really looking forward to seeing Spencer play in the future. Like I said, whether he fulfills his commitment to ECU or he decides to play professionally, given what happens in the draft. I know he's going to have a ton of success, and I'm very happy for him. So I hope you enjoyed this week's breakdown. Let me know if you guys have any questions.